Hi madam, here I myself with Shantini Venugopal and I'm Snehata Suraju. We are going to talk about the chronology of civilization transformation in the Middle Ages to the renaissance of the Age of Enlightenment. And the focus of transformation that we are going to talk about is in the aspect of social, education and also sports. Alright, so I'm going to explain to you the focus of transformation in the aspects of sports. Let's take a stroll through history, starting with the Middle Ages. Picture this: knights clad in armor, wielding swords and charging into battle. In those times, sports were all about preparing for war. Jousting, archery and sword fighting weren't just pastimes, they were serious business, reflecting the martial spirit of the age. Now, let's fast forward to the Renaissance. Now what a time of rebirth and discovery, right? Scholars were dusting off ancient texts and people were soaking up the wisdom of Greeks and Romans. This cultural revival sparked a new interest in sports too. Suddenly, it wasn't just about the combat anymore. Sports like wrestling, running and discus throwing made a comeback, echoing the athletic pursuits of antiquity. And then comes the Age of Enlightenment, where minds were ablaze with reasons and logic. This era was all about questioning old beliefs and embracing new ideas. Sports became more about physical fitness and leisure. Right, so think gentle pastimes like tennis, golf. They enjoyed by enlightened alike as they pondered the nature of existence over a game. So from the battlefield to the arena and finally to the leisurely pursuits of the intellect, sports evolved aligned with civilization, reflecting the changes, values and aspiration of each age. Quite the journey, won't you say?
Yeah, I agree to that.
The aspect we are going to talk about is social and also education, right?
Yes.
Would you enlighten me on that?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the education in the Renaissance. So let's talk about the Renaissance in the education. So the 14th to 17th century, education during the Renaissance saw a revival of interest in classical learning. It's like focusing on literature, art, philosophy and science. So humanism emerged a dominant intellectual movement emphasizing the importance of individualism, critical thinking and the study of ancient Greek and Roman texts. So the printing press in the education, the invention of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg in the mid-15th century revolutionized education by making books more widely available, facilitating the dissemination of the knowledge across Europe.
Alright, thank you.
Okay, Snehata, I put some more the social aspect also playing a big role in the Renaissance. So the Middle Age, roughly from the 5th to 15th century, were characterized by feudalism, where society was structured around the lords, vassals and serfs. This era was limited social mobility and was heavily influenced by the Catholic Church. So the Renaissance starting in the 14th century marked a revival in interest in arts, culture and learning. It led to the shift from the medieval worldwide to a more human-centered perspective with a focus on individualism, secularism and the exploration of the natural world. So the Age of Enlightenment from the late 17th to the 18th century emphasized the reason, science and the individual rights. It challenged the traditional authority, leading to significant social, political and philosophical changes. So including the rise of the democracy and the questioning of religious dogma, it calls dogma. So can I ask a question for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. How did the Enlightenment ideals influence the political revolutions?
I do think so. Enlightenment ideals such as liberty, equality and fraternity inspired movements for political reform and revolution, challenging absolute monarchy and feudal privileges.
Great. Thank you very much.
Good evening, madam. So, for my part, I'll be explaining the transformation in the Middle Ages to Renaissance to Age of Enlightenment in government. So, the transformation of government from the Middle Ages through the Renaissance and into the Age of Enlightenment is a fascinating journey that reflects the evolving social, intellectual, and political landscape of Europe. Each period brought about significant changes in the government structures, principle of authority, and relationships between rulers and the ruled. So for the Middle Ages, spanning from the 5th to the 15th century, was characterized by feudalism, a hierarchy system of governance. Power was decentralized and authority was fragmented among feudal lords. At the top of the feudal pyramid were kings or monarchs who theoretically held ultimate authority but often had their power checked by influences of noble valors, the church, and the regional customs. Theocracy and intervening the religious and political authority was prevalent during this period. The Catholic Church wielding significant power and influence of governance. The Renaissance, spanning from the 14th to the 17th century, witnessed a profound shift in governance structures as Europe experienced a cultural and intellectual revival. So for example, like absolute monarchs such as the Louis of France ruled the unchecked authority, unemploying patronage of the arts and promoting the ideal of divine rights just to verify their rule. However, alongside the absolute monarch, experiments with republican form of government emerged in the city-states like Florence and Venice. The Age of Enlightenment, spanning from the 17th to the 18th century, unleashed a new era of political thought and governance principle. Enlightenment thinkers challenged traditional notation of divine right and advocate for the government based on reasons. So some of the reasons are natural law, constant of the governed, social contract theory, architectural philosophers like John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, and Jean-Jacques. So in conclusion, the transformation of governments from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance and into the Age of Enlightenment reflects a gradual progression towards the centralized, secular, and accountable forms of governance. Each period marks significant changes in political structures, principles of authority, and the role of individuals in society, reflecting the evolving social, intellectual, and political dynamics of Europe. Thank you.